Hey everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. The weather outside has been absolutely yucky and just completely dreary lately, and that has got me wanting a good old pot of potato soup. So I thought I would show you all how to make restaurant quality, delicious, every bite, every time potato soup. And we start off with little yellow potatoes. So what I do is I get a bag of the yellow mini potatoes, and I have already washed mine and drained them. And now we're going to get them cut up. All right, before I cut my potatoes up, you're going to need a good size, sturdy stock pot. Now, I'm in the process of learning how to scale back my recipes because I have only ever known how to cook one size of everything, enough to feed an army. And at this point in my life, I don't have an army at home anymore. So I'm having to learn how to scale back. So if you have a large family, or if you're cooking this for a family gathering or a ball game, people coming over to watch a ball game, then you may want to use a bigger pot. But this is a fairly decent, I don't know what size, stock pot. So you're going to start off with that. I just cut my potatoes into little bite size cubes. I don't know if you can see that. Just bite size pieces. No rhyme or reason. They don't have to be perfect. Just cut your potatoes up, add them to your stock pot. Oop, missed one. And I like these potatoes because they are soft and tender even before you start cooking them. And I like my potatoes to be really cooked and really soft for my potato soup. So these get you off to a good start before you even turn the heat on them. All right. You don't need to watch me cut this whole bag of potatoes up. So I'll be back when that's done. See you in a minute. Okay, I have the potatoes cut up and I have covered them with water. And I cover mine and then I go about and a half an inch above um, the line of the potatoes with water. And I added a half a stick of butter. And now I'm going to add a cup of chicken broth. Now I use the reduced sodium. You can use whichever chicken broth you like. We're going to add that in. If you don't have chicken broth, you could do bouillon cubes. I would do 2 bouillon cubes and then maybe just add a little more water. So we're going to cook the potatoes, bring them to a boil, and get my little burner on. I add salt, and this is salt and pepper to taste. So I'll probably do about a fourth of a teaspoon of salt. And then I like fresh cracked pepper. And then just 1 shake of minced onion. We're going to bring this to a boil and let it simmer. We want to cook the potatoes until they are soft and pretty much all of the liquid has cooked out of it. So I will show you some progress along the way. I'll be back in just a little bit. All right, so you can see that my potatoes are covered in liquid with a little bit on top extra and half a stick of butter. We're going to bring it to a boil and let them cook. Be back in just a little bit. All right, little progress check. So these have been going for about an hour. And I didn't say this earlier, but you do want to give time for your potatoes to cook. So once the potatoes are cooked, the soup actually comes together pretty quickly. But this step is a little bit time consuming. So I like mine to really be tender, good and tender. If I can get, like, they are actually pretty much done. I'm trying to let a little bit more of this liquid cook out. So I'm actually going to let them go for about another 5 to 10 minutes. And I will check back and we'll get the soup going. See you in a minute. All right, it's been about, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes. And you can see that the broth has gotten really thick. So this is actually the perfect point. This is where I want them to be. My potatoes are very soft and they are ready. So let's turn it into potato soup. Okay, I have turned the burner down under the potatoes to right below medium. And the next thing we're going to add is a can of Campbell's cream of potato soup. I'm going to get that in there. All right, now you're going to take your can and we're going to fill it with, we're going to do a can of whipping cream. And I like to take my spatula and go around, kind of clean the can out really good. All right, and add that in. All right, stir it together. Got to put the lid back on my whipping cream. And now we're going to add half and half. And I add about anywhere from a half a cup to a cup. You want to bring the level of your soup up. Now this is where you can add to the volume or the amount of soup that you have. You can easily do 2 cans or do a can of whipping cream and then 2 cans of half and half if you need to do more. If your soup gets a little too thick and you want to thin it down, don't use water, use chicken broth. Thin it down with some chicken broth. And from here, we're going to let this come to a low simmer. And then here's where you season to taste. And I actually usually get a little bit and taste it. You can do more salt, more pepper. If your family likes garlic, you can add some garlic. I do not put garlic in my chicken soup. And then we're going to let it simmer for just a little bit. And then I like to add some Monterey Jack cheese to mine. And then when I serve it, I always offer bacon bits and some more shredded cheese. You can add sour cream, whatever makes you happy. I'm going to let this simmer for a few minutes and we'll come back and have a taste. See you in a minute. All right, it has come back to a low simmer and it's thickened up. So it's ready for me to add the cheese. And I'm sure you can see that my number one helper heard me when I told you all that I would be adding some Monterey Jack cheese. And he made a beeline for the kitchen. So before I can put any in the soup, I'm going to put some in his dog bowl. So give me just a second. All right, sit down. There you go. All right, got to keep them happy first. All right, I add about a handful, which I don't know, that's about a half a cup, I guess, to this amount of soup. If I was making more soup, I would definitely add a little bit more cheese. And stir that around. You want it to melt in and become part of the broth or part of the soup. And I also realized I said I don't add garlic to my chicken soup. I don't add it to my potato soup either. I don't know where my mind was with that, but this is potato soup, not chicken soup. All right. I did add a little more salt and a little more pepper to mine because I did get a little taste and it needed a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper. Now, once I add the cheese and I let it get good and melty, it's ready to serve. So you can top it however you want to top it. Like I said, you could add some sour cream, more shredded cheese, bacon, and of course, freshly fried and crumbled bacon is the best. But bacon bits work. You could add chives, whatever makes your family happy. So let me get a little bowl and I'll get a taste. Just a second. All right, let's get a taste. And you can see how nice and thick and creamy that is. It smells so good. I wish you could smell it. It is so good. I hope you'll try it and I hope you'll like it. Every bite really is delicious every time. And if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.